We have observed recently that you are getting lengthy audios in the PTE repeat sentence questions, and the PT software was also updated this year. A lot of students are facing the dilemma or the confusion on how to attempt the PT repeat sentence questions. So no tigadam and no jugaad, just pure simple techniques will help you to clear it. Hey everyone, this is Anurag from Edutrainex PTE, and we are going to convert the PT repeat sentence from a weakness to a strength by watching this video. And believe me, a lot of students who were never able to cross the 70 mark in their previous attempts got above 79 plus just by doing this. I'll show you one scorecard of a student shortly who joined us for classes, and I helped him personally to get 79 plus in PT speaking. You can also join us if you want certainty in your scores. We are just a message away. In the meantime, like and subscribe and sit tight to watch this insightful video right till the end. Have you ever wondered, even the exam questions are now lengthy, but still many people are getting 90 score, 79 plus score. How is that possible? That is exactly what we are going to find about. You don't need to be scared about the rumors or the trends that are currently being observed in the exam. So lengthy questions are sometimes appearing. That's a fact. Now, the thing that we are going to learn in this video is how to tackle them and still cross 79. Now, before I share you those hacks, I want to show you a scorecard of an actual student who was never able to cross the 70 mark in the speaking section in his previous attempts. He gave it 4 times, and with just following these techniques that I'm also going to share with you, he cleared it in the very next attempt. He got 79 plus score, and this is his actual score from the exam. So this is exactly what we are going to address in the repeat sentence questions, how to fix it, and you will also learn what you need to do in the exam. First things first, understand the exam, understand the questions, what exactly is being expected from you, so that when you are attempting those questions, you know exactly what you need to do. And the techniques that I'm going to share with you is of utmost importance, so please watch that carefully. Okay, there is no surprise that we all know now that fluency is the key thing here in most of the speaking questions. I would rather say in all of the questions, fluency is the king. Yes, content, some of the questions it is important like retell lecture, but the remaining places, content is not priority. Even in read aloud, if you read the remaining things, I mean the whole text that is given to you, you get more points for your reading section. And you can skip the difficult words. So main thing that we need to focus is on fluency. And how is this marked? How is this question marked? How many marks for fluency? How many marks for pronunciation? So 5 points you get for fluency, 5 points you get for pronunciation, and 3 points, only 3 points you get for content. And that too, the content breakdown is shown right here. If you say everything or close to everything, you get 3 points. Even if you are saying around 70% of what you heard, you still get 3 points. So this 100% is an obsolete thing that you might be hearing on the YouTube. Even if you say 70% with full fluency, with full clarity in the pronunciation, then you still get 3 points. And that's how the students are crossing 79. Even if you are able to say 50% of what you heard, you still get 2 points for content. Remember, at the same time, you still need to maintain the fluency and the clarity in your voice. If for some reason you are not able to hear most of it or all of the words that were spoken in the audio, and you're only speaking around 10 to 50%, you still get 1 point. All right. So the content is not really important here. Only if you don't say anything or nothing matches, then you only get 0 points for content. Okay, we'll also talk about those scenarios when these things happen. So first things first, the first hack that you need to do in order to sound more natural, in order to crack this question, is imitate the intonation. Copy the speaker. I'm not talking about copying the accent, but just copy the tone, how the speaker is speaking. That's what you need to do. The ups and downs, it will be clearly audible to you. When you are listening to the audio, it will clearly say, the library is going to open at 3 o'clock. So just imitate the same way. Okay, automatic modulation it will give you. You just need to focus on the audio. Okay, now we are going to hear an audio and try to repeat the intonation that I was talking about.
You can register your card at the University Student Centre or the library.
Okay, listen how the intonation was. You can register your card at the student center or the library. So that's how you should be imitating the voice. I will show it to you again. I'll play it to you again. Hear the intonation.
You can register your card at the University Student Centre or the library.
You can register your card at the university center or the library. Something like that, right? So the wordings in all are not important, but the way you are speaking should be very smooth. We'll come to that. First thing, now you know that you have to copy the intonation. The second hack that we need to do, and you all must do, is that you maintain the same speed. Don't try to hurry up. If the sentence is being spoken at a moderate speed, you speak at the same speed. Why are you trying to hurry up, or why are you trying to slow down? So that's the mistake many people do. They still try to maintain their own speed, which is what happens when you don't follow the pattern. So maintaining the same speed is the second hack, and using the same techniques. The guy I showed you whose scorecard on the first page, he also followed the same thing. And within first attempt after preparing with us, he cleared 79. You can also do that. Just note down these facts and make sure you are implementing that. So don't go full speed, don't go half speed, go at the same speed that the speaker is going. Let's do an audio and then you will understand. This one is a shorter audio, but try to keep the pace, the same speed, almost same.
I will be in my office every day from 10 to 12.
See, it was moderately spoken, right? Not very fast, not very quick, not even a longer sentence. So let's hear it again.
I will be in my office every day from 10 to 12.
I will be in my office every day from 10 to 12. That's how you should speak. So first thing, you copied the intonation now, and then you are maintaining the speed. The third hack is also important, which many of you are facing at this moment in the exam, is the concept of lengthy audio. Okay, you get around 11 to 12 questions in the exam for repeat sentence questions, and some of them will be lengthy ones. So you can't expect everything to be simpler. Some of them will be lengthy. And in the previous month, many people saw that almost half of the audios were lengthy. And this guy cleared it in the last month, still following the same pattern, still following the same technique. Understand the scoring criteria and then implement what is required from you. So if it is a longer audio, if it is the trend that you are seeing right now, if you go to the exam and you find the sentences longer, then you focus at least on the first 6 to 7 words. 7 words is more comfortable, because if it's a longer sentence having around 13 to 14 words, you will still cross the halfway mark. So you'll cross the 50% mark and you can still get 2 points for content. And if you speak properly with full fluency and pronunciation, then you can get 12 points out of 13, which is more than 90%. So the main thing that you need to do is speak fluently. That is the number one criteria in this question, in every other question of the speaking section. So as long as you are fluent, you already following the intonation, you are following the speed, and now you just speak fluently. Okay, let's hear an example of a lengthy audio and see how much you are able to absorb from it. If you're not able to understand all of it, and also try to understand a little bit from the audio. If you understand it, then it will be easier to remember and repeat it. Don't just try to remember it word by word. Try to understand the audio, what it is saying, and then you will be able to repeat better. So that is also an important tip. Let's hear the audio now.
In the last few weeks, we've been looking at various aspects of the social history of London.
Okay, that was a long one, around 14 words. So in the last few weeks, what was the audio? We can hear it again. How many words you need to remember? 6 to 7 words. Okay, try to focus on the 7 words. Even if it is over here and there, you pick up some words from the beginning, you pick up some words from the end, you still at least say more than half of it.
In the last few weeks, we've been looking at various aspects of the social history of London.
In the last few weeks, we have been looking at various aspects of London. Now, I didn't say everything correctly, but the way I spoke it was very fluent and I crossed the 50% mark. And I'm sure I was around 60 to 70% mark. And if you do that, you can get 13 out of 13 in repeat sentence. Even if you say just 50%, you can still get this particular marks that I show you on the screen, which is 12 points out of 13. So it's not a big challenge that if you get longer audios then you are on the losing side. You can still cross 79 with this technique. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth hack, which is going to talk about that you don't have to apply your brain when you are speaking. If you're trying to think and then speak, that will cause hesitations. And this guy, I'm not taking his name due to privacy reasons, but this guy on the previous screen that I showed to you was also hesitating when he was trying to speak. So same thing happens to a lot of you. Try to understand when you are listening, just try to understand what is being said in the audio and then repeat how much ever you remember. That is the trick. That is the idea. That is the ultimate truth that you need to follow. So never try to think too much when you are speaking. Only try to remember and understand whatever you heard and then say it without hesitations. So number one thing, as I already told you in every speaking module, is the hesitations and fumbles. You need to avoid them at any cost. Okay, so I shared these tips in one of my previous videos as well. So step number one is to work on your hesitations. Don't try to think, oh, the number one reason for what? The number one reason for failure is hesitation. Okay, the number one reason, hesitation. Even if I don't remember the sentence, I will say everything fluently, whatever I remember. So that is what the third and the most important point in this slide says. Speak what you remember. Okay, now let's do an example and see how much you are able to remember. Sometimes it can have difficult words that are difficult to follow for you. Let's see.
More females than males graduated from universities last year.
Males than females graduated from universities last year. Something like that, right? So why I was not trying to remember it. More females, or even if you just remember males, more females graduated from university. More females graduated from university. And the audio's length was 9. So 9 out of 9 I spoke 5 words in this example. So I'm still crossing the 50% mark and I'm still going to get above 90%. Okay, and that percentage is out of 100, not out of 90. So that's where you score well. Whatever you remember, don't try to think harder. Whatever remember, understand, and then just pick up. Okay, there's a couple of seconds gap before the mic opens up. So be careful to keep looking at the status because there is no beep sound. So there's no beep sound. You have to keep your eyes open. You have to keep looking at the status. As soon as it changes to recording after a couple of seconds, then that is the time that you need to speak. And the questions that we are doing in this slide, I have not made it up myself. I have picked it up from the exam questions, the prediction files that we provide. So these questions are directly picked up from the exam questions, and these are coming in the exam right now in this particular month. These are one of the latest files that have come in the exam. So you are practicing with me on the real exam questions. So don't worry about that. This is the same level of questions that come in the exam, and this is exactly what you need to follow. The fifth hack, and we are also going to do a couple of questions again after this. So you can try it, but let's talk about the last hack. The last hack talks about extra words, and this happens in the worst case scenario. What happens sometimes, it can happen in two ways. Either you hear some difficult words of the audio that are either difficult to pronounce or that will make you hesitate or that will make you fumble or make you forget, make you stutter, whatever. If these things are related to your speaking, then you should eliminate that word from your response. So skip those words which are going to cause problems in your responses, cause your scores to go down. So understand, identify those words. It's a split-second decision, right? You are hearing and then you are making all those decisions very quickly. So it's important that when you are practicing, you follow this technique. And then when you go to the exam, you already know what you need to do and you straight away implement it. Now, another scenario happens when sometimes the students are not able to hear anything. They just remember 1 to 2 words. Why this happens? First of all, because you are trying to remember each of the word and trying to remember the word by word. not by trying to understand the meaning of the sentence and not by breaking into chunks. So another way of remembering longer sentences is break it into chunks. I am going to the library after my lunch. If it is a longer sentence, break it into 2 chunks. I am going to the library after my lunch, and then understand it. Okay, this guy is going to the library after he finishes his food or lunch. Once you understand it, then you will be able to speak more fluently. Okay, that's the idea, that's the trick. In the worst case scenario, if this happens to you, that you don't remember most of it, then you only add extra words. Okay, don't follow this technique. Many other popular channels, they are advocating you say whatever you remember and then say thank you very much, have a nice day, thank you, things like this. Okay, only use it in the worst case scenario. Okay, don't try to make it a habit of adding those phrases in every sentence. Okay, so you are actually not helping your scores. So it is actually helping if some of the words do match, but it's a very difficult or very unknown criteria that may or may not fulfill. So better to go with the techniques, better to follow it. If you really don't remember anything, then just use the phrase. At least you will get some points for fluency, some points for pronunciation. Of course, content you will not get any point. If you speak 1 or 2 words from the content, then at least you will get 1 point for the content. You can still try to stretch your scores a little bit, but main thing is listen properly, understand it. Let's listen to one audio and then see if you can remember how much you remember.
During the next few centuries, London became one of the most powerful and prosperous cities in Europe.
Now, it may happen to you in the exam that when you listen to such sentence, London, centuries, Europe, you may only remember 3 of the words. Then what will you do? At least say those 3 words fluently. London, centuries, Europe, thank you very much. You will sound fluent. At least you said 3 words from the audio, so you will get 1 point for content and you will get good points for fluency and your pronunciation. So at least it will not make your scores go down very low. Okay, if you follow this technique, it will stay somewhere in the middle or towards the higher part. But don't try to implement this in all the questions. Smaller ones, do it confidently, say everything. Moderate ones, say more than half of it. And the really difficult ones or the really fast ones or lengthy audio, try to understand the meaning. You will be able to understand, and at least you will be able to say 6 to 7 words. And that is the idea you need to implement. Guaranteed there will be improvement. Okay. Now what you are going to do is you are going to try it on the uni websites, alpha websites, and you will see the scores. But these websites, the scorings, they are not the PT software. I am talking about how the PT software works. Okay, so the scores that you might be getting on these websites will differ, and you will start thinking, oh, this technique is not working. But this is going to work in the exam. This guy already implemented this technique in the exam and he was able to overcome his 70 benchmark. He was never able to cross 70 in 4 attempts. How come he crossed 79 in his 5th attempt? By following these simple techniques. So you have to keep your trust on the teacher. Okay, I'm not trying to give you any tigadam, any jugaad techniques. I'm giving you pure techniques. Okay, let's hear it again and try to focus on the 6 to 7 words.
During the next few centuries, London became one of the most powerful and prosperous cities in Europe.
During the next few centuries, London became very powerful in Europe. So at least I said more than half of it. It was really a lengthy audio and it was difficult because if you try to remember it word by word, then what will happen? You will mess it up. You will forget most of the things and then you will end up in this worst case scenario, which is just remembering 2 to 3 words. And then you have to apply these extra word techniques. Now this is a jugaad technique and you have to use it only in the worst case scenario. So prepare well and you will be able to do. Now let's do some exam questions. Again, these were also exam questions. Now this one is an actual task for you. So I'll play the audio and then you can try it out. Type it in the comments and see how much you are able to mark. Okay, now because you need to type it, you can try speaking first and then typing to see how much you match. Okay, let's hear the first one. And there could be some difficult words. You know what to do. You know the hacks now. Let's start implementing it.
We didn't have any noticeable variance between the 2 or 3 tasks.
Speak or type the comments. I'll play it once again for you. In the exam, you only hear it once. So you need to put all your focus in the very first attempt because there is no listening twice. But let's do it.
We didn't have any noticeable variance between the 2 or 3 tasks.
Okay, now I'm going to show you the answer on the screen. Now this was the audio that was just played. We didn't have any noticeable variance between the 2 or 3 tasks. Cut that. Now some of the words may cause you to stutter, hesitate. So, like this word, variance or noticeable. What was it? Noticeable. We didn't have any noticeable variance. Don't do like that. If you think both of these words are difficult, just skip them. We didn't have any between the 2 or 3 tasks. So you are fulfilling the criteria of speaking more than 70%. Straight away you will get 3 points for content, and if you speak fluently just the way I did, you will get 5 points for fluency, 5 points for pronunciation. In total, you will get almost full marks, and when it rounds it up, it will give you a full score for that question. Okay, that's the way you need to do it. Let's do another exam question and see how you are doing it this time. This time I'm going to play only once, listen it carefully, speak it up, and then write it in the comments. Okay, ready?
We prefer destinations with guided tours for a more structured visiting experience.
Okay, you can pause the video and try to type it in the comments, or if you are speaking already. Okay, now you see the question on the screen. It was a long one and it was a real exam question, just like all the other questions that we did in the session today. What was it? We prefer destinations with guided tours for a more structured visiting experience. It was a long one and some lengthy words were also there. Experience is a lengthy word. Structured is a lengthy word. Destinations is a lengthy word as well as can make you hesitate. So you have to try to identify when you are listening, if this word is difficult for me, if it is going to make me hesitate, then you just skip it from your response. We prefer with guided tours for a more visiting experience. That's it. I eliminated destinations, I eliminated structure, but I was still speaking more than 70-80% of the words that are given to me. And this is how you do it in the exam with full confidence, with full fluency, with full pronunciation. Absolutely, you will get full marks for the repeat sentence. That's how you crack the repeat sentence questions using the hacks that I showed you. Great job. So you just learned about the 5 PT repeat sentence hacks and the steps that you need to master. Now, before you move forward, watch the video on how the PT software actually works for PT speaking module. This is going to open your eyes about the PT exam. Hit subscribe and keep watching Edutrainex, and I will soon be back with another great video on PT exam topics. See you soon.